Hey, what's up, Nathan? This is a quick demo video for you for your custom 2.0 Scrapflex. So you had originally reached out to my buddy Benji over at Nerfurga Customs. He has been super busy lately and didn't have the bandwidth to make you one, so he sent you my way. I'm glad that he did, and I was able to get this done for you. So you supplied the 2.0 Graphics kit and the Canon Y flash. I took apart the Canon Y flash. That was the first thing I did. Luckily, I had a core laying around. These cores are typically something that I machine. I recently had Benji over at my house for a day before we headed off to our trip, and I made him, it was a different saber, but it used a Canon Y handle. My boy changed his mind a few times during the manufacturing process, and I had an extra core that I had machined that we ended up scrapping, and I said, you know what, I'm going to throw that on my shelf and keep that because that's going to come in handy someday, and it did with this build. So this has an aluminum machined core for the handle. I did go through, I did a little bit of milling work on the inside core so that I could put these little brass rods in here just so that you'd have a little bit of something showing some depth in here. Unfortunately, we were not able to use the red button as a switch, something that I couldn't do cleanly, but I wanted you to retain the look, so I just JB welded that in place. That is where that switch would have gone on the Canon Y when it was fully put together. So that is a faux switch. It's just there for looks. I thought it was pretty cool. All right. This is not being used. Again, this is just for aesthetics. So you sent it with the clamp card in there. The card is from Great Lakes Saber Company, and I left it in there. All right. I did machine down the pommel a little bit. I took the threads off the pommel, machined it down so it fit into my core, and I did JB weld it in place. So this pommel does not come off. It was a very tight press fit to begin with, and then with a little bit of two-part JB weld, that's not coming out of there. All right. It is a 2-button setup, so as you and I spoke about, I put your switches underneath the clamp card. Your front switch here, that'll be power. You'll feel a tactile feel back here, that'll be auxiliary. We kept this guy right here for your blade retention, so no tools needed. And you had asked me to remove the bunny ears, so of course that's what I did for you. All right. Did some heat staining and some weathering to this guy. Now I knew I wasn't going to be able to heat stain this MHS adapter because it's made out of aluminum. All right, and this piece on the Canon Y does not take heat very well either, only the clamp does. So because of that, I started off pretty strong with the heat up front, and I kind of tried to taper down a little bit until I got to almost nothing, so it looked like kind of a natural transition. It wasn't just like burnt to shit up here and then super clean down here. All right, so yeah, I try to do like a transition for you. What else do we got? This little groove right here, there's a notch cut out in the 2.0 cores, and you had asked if not for a crystal but just something for a little bit of a shine through, so that's what I did for you. You've got a Carl Chen V4 blade connector in here, and then to get to your chassis you just want to unscrew the handle. One thing I did do, typically what I like to do on these setups is I'll run, I'll drill and tap for a little set screw right here, and I'll put a set screw in there so that I can lock this clamp down. If you don't do that, they tend to move a little bit. You had this greebly on your Canon Y, so I went ahead and I reused it up here. I just thought it looked cool. All right, not quite an M3, but it does screw into an M3 hole if you're brave enough. So yeah, that's not coming out. All right, that I had put that in there with some pliers. It's nice and tough in there. Nothing's coming loose. But to get to your chassis, unscrew your handle. All right, so on this MHS adapter, what I did was I did machine the threads off of one side of it, and then I did a press fit into the core that I made for this handle. Press fit, JB welded, and then I went back through in one of these holes. I drilled and tapped for an M3 grub screw right there. That just makes sure that the handle stays aligned, that makes sure that this isn't going anywhere, everything's good to go. So this is a very, very solid piece. All right, we'll put this off to the side. You would ask for a CFX, so that's what you got. You got a 28mm Smuggler's Outpost dark side. You got your CFX board on top here. If we can focus in on that, there we go. So easy access to your SD card, just like that, right? If you flip it around, it is a removable battery setup. So spring side over here for the negative side of your battery, please. The board is glued down, so all of the changes that you make, sound fonts that you add, anything like that, they will need to be used or done through the SD card, which is typically what people use. There are some people out there that use the RICE program, but this particular build is set up to do things on the SD card. All right. The single Neopixel accent that I have poking out here and shining through here, even though I have a piece of diffusion in here, you'll see the Neopixel when the handle's off, but when the handle is on, you'll see the whole thing light up, and that's what it was intended to do. So I'll show you that real quick. This has the stock font package on it, but it is set up using the LS2 pad for this accent piece right here, and it has twist on and twist off. You had sent me a picture of your battery and asked if it was good, so yes, it is good. You have a custom Saber shot battery, which is the same as this one. This is a Keep Power 18650 protected cell battery. I believe the custom Saber shot buys these. They just take the sticker off and put their own sticker on. That's typically what people will do when you buy them from different places other than like places like Ilum, all right, or Illum, or however you say it. Anyway, we'll put the battery in. After the boot up, you'll see it start pulsing here, and it will pulse when the Saber is off. Now this is programmed to always mirror the blade color, so later on when we fire this up, we're going to change colors of the blade. You'll notice that this changes colors as well. All right, but just so you have a little bit of what you would ask for there. And then when we get that battery in, we can come over here and screw our handle down. When you screw it down, you got to screw it down tight, and I'll tell you why here in a second. But when you feel like it's all the way, give it a little bit of an extra nudge. You'll see that these two holes in the middle of this cutout, they should come up here and they should align here with this. I mean, all of these greeblies and these holes should be a straight line. And the reason I did that was because you had asked for this clamp down here to be on the opposite side of this guy right here, your control box. So you do have that, if you can see that. All right, so you've got that shine through going. We could twist on. This is a beefy boy. Twist off, twist on and twist off does take a little bit of getting used to, but play around with that, you'll like it. It's not something that you'll ever do accidentally, that's for sure. All right, but if you don't want to do that, come over here and hit power. Auxiliary. And we'll turn it off by tapping power. All right. So let's loosen this guy up a little bit and just get it out of the blade socket. You don't have to take it all the way out. This is set up for a 7/8 inch blade, which is also something you and I talked about. So put your blade down in there, lock this down, hit power, and it lights up a blade. Blaster bolt deflex is just tapping auxiliary. See your shine through here. Or hold it down for blade lock up. Let's switch some colors. Hold down auxiliary and twist the Saber. Now you've got this color here and you've got it right here as well. Blue, green, that's all you have to do to change color. Hold down auxiliary, twist your wrist. Now we're back to the original. And we'll do a twist off and take this out, all right? Take this out of here. You're very familiar with CFX. You said it was your preferred board. I will say, pay a little mind to this card, okay? I do have a little bit of tape on either side of this card that kind of holds it in place and makes it snug so it doesn't fall out. That's the nature of this right here. The card has to be loose enough to where you can actually have some play and hit those tactile switches. If it was too tight, you wouldn't be able to do that. But you have to have something in there to hold the card in so that when you go like this, it doesn't fall out. So just pay that a little bit of mind, but you should be fine. All right, we'll come over here when we're done. We'll take the handle off. This is all built very solid. I don't think you'll ever have any issue with it. But we'll take the handle off, and when we're done, CFX does have a deep sleep mode, but if you want to take the battery out, come over here from the positive side by your speaker and pop it out with your finger. All right, and that is basically your custom Canon Y 2.0 Scrapflex. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will get this out in the mail to you tomorrow. Thanks, Nathan.